Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inside the Americas. I'm Jeannie Godula. Here's what's coming up in today's show. The Wikileaks scandal hits France as new revelations show the NSA has spied on 3 French presidents. A historic badge of Southern pride or a divisive symbol of hate? We'll look at how the American tide is turning against the Confederate flag. And the Oscar-winning composer behind the iconic music of Titanic is killed in a plane crash. First for you, France slammed the U.S. this week after new reports claimed the NSA had spied on the last 3 French presidents. The whistleblowing website Wikileaks says the U.S. eavesdropped on current President François Hollande, as well as Nicolas Sarkozy and Jacques Chirac. The leak comes just weeks after Barack Obama approved landmark legislation in Washington that basically reversed U.S. policy by reining in the most controversial surveillance program since 9/11. Shirley Sitbon has the details.
Jacques Chirac, Nicolas Sarkozy, and François Hollande, 3 French presidents the NSA has spied on. For at least 7 years, the U.S. National Security Agency issued documents like this, reporting on secret conversations. On this one, François Hollande discusses Greece's situation. The president was concerned about a Grexit. Since Edward Snowden, a former NSA contractor, revealed the agency's massive surveillance activities in 2013, including spying on German Chancellor Angela Merkel, America's allies have criticized it. Some say that tapping only reveals non-confidential discussions, that secret talks are made through other channels. Not everyone agrees.
Let me be clear. You cannot protect yourself from the NSA. It has a huge budget, more than the French army. Specialists can use the latest techniques to protect some channels, but for a very short time, it's impossible to be protected all the time.
In America, officials have tried to play down the controversy.
I've made clear to the intelligence community that unless there is a compelling national security purpose, we will not monitor the communications of heads of state and government, of our close friends and allies.
But the NSA still has the capacity of listening in on conversations. Its powers have been curtailed, but only on U.S. soil. The reform voted on June 2nd by Congress sets conditions for spying on U.S. citizens. If the NSA wants to tap phones in America, it now has to get a green light from an anti-terror court and identify the people it suspects of threatening national security. The agency will have to adapt its methods, but only in the U.S. Spying abroad isn't even mentioned in the law, and the NSA can keep eavesdropping.
1 week after the massacre of 9 worshippers at a black church in Charleston, South Carolina, one of the most divisive symbols in U.S. history seems to be being put to rest. The Confederate flag was used by pro-slavery states in the Civil War and is seen by many in the South today as a symbol of Southern pride. But since the Charleston attack, major retailers, Walmart and Sears, have both said they'll stop selling Confederate merchandise. And the top flag makers in the U.S. have halted their production of Confederate flags. Kethaven Gorjestani has more.
It's one of the South's most controversial symbols, the Confederate flag. Following the Charleston shooting, the Stars and Stripes as well as the state flag were lowered to half-mast, but the Southern banner was flying high, an insult to many Americans, especially the black community.
We know what that flag symbolizes. We know the hate, we know the danger. It says stop. It says you are not welcome here. It says fear for your life. Take down the flag.
Yeah! Take down the flag, a rallying cry that has gained exposure after several pictures of Dylann Roof were published, burning the American flag and proudly posing with the stars and bars. For some Americans, however, the flag is a source of pride and a symbol of Southern heritage, a way to remember how the Confederate states led by South Carolina fought Northern oppression during the Civil War. Over the years, it has become a staple of Southern attire. The popular merchandise reflects South Carolinian support for the Confederate symbol. A 2014 poll found that 61% of the state's residents said it should continue to fly on State House grounds. Among its supporters are those who see it as a tribute to Confederate soldiers who died in battle and who believe the Charleston shooting and the flag are not related.
It's a shame that those people were killed, and we all greatly regret that incident. And we were upset that anybody would try to tie people who are proud of their heritage to an act like that.
But the flag's heritage is also that of a group of states seceding from the Union in 1860 because they refused to abolish slavery. A century later, it was used by white supremacist groups opposed to the civil rights movement.
If you call that a part of your heritage, then you have a heritage of hate, because the flag represents hate, hate of other, especially me as the other.
In the face of growing outrage, retail giants like Walmart or eBay have decided to stop selling Confederate merchandise, while politicians on both sides of the aisle have called for the flag to be removed, like South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley.
On matters of race, South Carolina has a tough history. We all know that. Today, we are here in a moment of unity in our state, without ill will, to say it's time to move the flag from the Capitol grounds.
But the flag won't be taken down right away. The move will have to gather a two-thirds majority in both the State House and Senate when lawmakers return from summer recess. Meanwhile, a petition to take down the flag has already gathered more than 500,000 signatures, and protesters have vowed to stage a mass demonstration against the Confederate flag on the 4th of July.
It's been 3 weeks now since 2 killers escaped from a New York jail, and more than 1,000 U.S. agents are still trying to track them down. Convicts Richard Matt and David Sweat cut their way out of their cells in a spectacular prison break that could have come out of a movie. A female prison worker has already been charged with helping the 2 men escape by providing them with tools. She reportedly was planning to meet them with a getaway car, but changed her mind at the last minute and checked herself into a hospital after a panic attack. Over the weekend, police discovered traces of the convicts' DNA in a remote vacation area west of the prison. A $100,000 reward is still out for any information leading to their arrest. Next now to the Dominican Republic, where a new immigration law is uprooting thousands of families originally from the other side of the island, Haiti. Many of those family members were even born in the Dominican Republic, but for the authorities, that's not enough reason to let them stay. Kyle Brown explains.
Haitians and families of Haitian descent are packing up to leave the Dominican Republic, where many have called home for decades. Immigrants were warned by government officials to have their papers in order or risk being deported, even those who have grown up in the country.
I haven't done anything in Haiti. I've spent 65 years in this country. What am I going to find in someplace else? Where am I going to go? I don't have a mother or a father.
Haiti and the Dominican Republic comprise one island with 2 fates. For decades, Haitians have fled natural disaster, political violence, and poverty for the relative prosperity of their next-door neighbor. Many do the more modest jobs. These Haitians chant that there would be no sugar without the sugarcane field workers, and said that they're not leaving. Of the several 100,000 families affected, officials say almost 300,000 people have registered under the program, but the vast majority have failed to provide the necessary documentation.
I have a little problem with this. They don't want to change my status. They're asking for an original form, and I applied for it. I've been dealing with this for 2 years and 3 months, and it's always wait.
Migrants who fail to register for the so-called regularization program could face deportation. And for those still struggling with the bureaucracy, time is running out.
The majority don't have those documents. They've been here for 20, 30 or even 40 years in the Dominican Republic, and they're now required to present these documents. But in reality, none are going to end up being able to stay because most of them don't have the right paperwork.
The president of the Dominican Republic, however, says there's been no change to the policy.
And finally, one of Hollywood's best-known film composers has died. That's 61-year-old James Horner, who was killed this week in a plane crash in California. The composer was best known for writing the score to the 1997 iconic movie Titanic. Thomas Waterhouse takes a look back at his work.
It was a smash hit ballad that won the hearts of millions of cinema goers. Titanic's title track, My Heart Will Go On, performed by Celine Dion.
This is it! Hold on!
With its haunting vocals and bittersweet Celtic pipes, the rest of the film's score earned composer James Horner 2 Academy Awards. But Titanic was just the tip of the iceberg of a huge career in film, with some 95 soundtrack credits to his name, including Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, Aliens, and the 1995 blockbuster Braveheart.
I love you. Always have. I want to marry you.
And more recently, another collaboration with director James Cameron with Avatar. But on Monday, the man behind the music was killed when his personal aircraft came down in the Los Padres National Forest north of Los Angeles. The cause of the crash is not yet known. Tributes have flooded in from across Hollywood. Celine Dion said she was deeply saddened by the news, while the actor Rob Lowe said nothing shaped his movie-going experience more than Horner's musical genius.
That's all the time we have for this Inside the Americas. See you again next week for all the news from north to south.